Mystery-like flu disease X is being investigated. It's killed 79 people. There's different reports, actually. Some reports indicate more than 200 people have died in Congo, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. Nobody knows what this disease is. It might be a filovirus. It might be one of these hemorrhagic diseases. It might be a coronavirus. It could be the first real big incidence of a brand new flu, presumably a mutated bird flu. What we do know is that it's mostly killing young people, which is what the bird flu did back in 1918. It hit young people harder than it hit old people. And so nobody knows. Presumably within the next 48 hours, the world will know, because you've got some of the top virologists in the world have headed over to Congo, to Kinshasa, the capital of DRC, and where they're, several of the 40 some odd of these people died in the hospital. The thing that makes it seem that it's probably not flu is that people are experiencing and dying of severe anemia. So whatever this disease is, it's destroying red blood cells. And flu doesn't do that. So, and to the best of my knowledge, coronaviruses don't do that either. This may well be an airborne, it's possible that Ebola, for example, has now mutated and gone airborne. And if so, this is really bad news. Meanwhile, Dr. Peter Hotez, who was a regular on CNN and MSNBC and News Nation and whatnot for much of 2020 during the pandemic, kind of a go-to guy, warns that there are now 10 viruses floating around in the United States. Now, keep in mind, this is at the same time that Bob Kennedy and Donald Trump say we need to dial back on vaccines and vaccine research and pandemic preparations and all that sort of thing, and instead focus on the real diseases, heart disease and diabetes and obesity. But here's what Peter Hotez said. He said, we have another major coronavirus likely brewing in Asia. We know that these viruses are jumping from bats to people thousands of times a year. We know we have a big problem with mosquito-transmitted viruses all along the American Gulf Coast, where I am here in Texas. We're expecting dengue and possibly Zika virus coming back, or Oropouche virus. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Oropouche, and yellow fever. He says, and also we're experiencing right now, as a result of the anti-vax hysteria that has been spread by people like Bob Kennedy since the pandemic, he said we have a 5-fold rise in pertussis cases, that's whooping cough, and it can kill children. In fact, children are dying of that right now in the United States. A 500% increase in pertussis cases, 15 different separate measles outbreaks in the United States this year, and we have polio that's been found in the wastewater in New York State. And meanwhile, Bob Kennedy has I'm reading now from this piece by Luke Andrews in the Daily Mail. Kennedy has already vowed to slash research spending on infectious diseases and instead reapportion the funds to solving the nation's chronic disease epidemic with rising cases of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and obesity. Right. Just wonderful. Just wonderful. At the time that we've got, I mean, part of this has to do with 6 billion people on planet Earth, right? Or 7 billion people, I guess we're up to now. And as a result of our ongoing population explosion, there was only 1 billion people on planet Earth in 1800 when Jefferson was elected president. That was when we hit our first billion. We hit our second billion in like 1930, I think it was. Now we're at 7 billion, and the world was well populated when Franklin Roosevelt became president. So at the time that we're seeing these infectious diseases now popping up, jumping from animals to humans and all that kind of thing, we now apparently are going to get a government that says, infectious diseases, no big deal. In fact, Trump's proposal for the head of the FDA is a guy who believes in herd immunity. Yeah, let's all get sick.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-808-9925.